Some of you might be thinking, what do you mean a debate? This was never a debate, it's never been a debate. The answer is very clear. Okay, I would agree, but for whatever reason, ESPN does not. The debate we're referring to here, of course, is Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese for WNBA Rookie of the Year. And after tonight, it was already over, but certainly after tonight, the debate is officially finished. Now, don't get me wrong, this has certainly been a compelling storyline throughout the entire season. This is the fourth time these two teams have matched up. The Fever win tonight. They're now 3-1 on the season against the Sky. And these are two players that, going back to their time in college, have just always been linked. They came into the league in the same year. They're the two front runners for the Rookie of the Year award. And even though there's plenty of things different about them on the floor, they always seem to be in these conversations. And I think having these kinds of debates and having interest in this and having interest in the league is overall fantastic for the WNBA. It's part of what has made Caitlin Clark fantastic for the league in the first place, is the interest that she generates. But this whole conversation around who should win Rookie of the Year, who's more valuable, rebounding versus shot creation, I genuinely can't believe that this has been something that we have had to discuss even up to this point. To me, it feels like it's been over. Now it certainly should be over, but it's just shocking to me. You can go on to ESPN and they can have player rankings, Rookie of the Year rankings, whatever you want to call them, for this season, and actually have Angel Reese ranked ahead of Caitlin Clark. No disrespect to Angel Reese whatsoever. There's still plenty of good stuff to her game, but they're just on different levels right now. And I'd love for you guys to let me know down in the comments where you stand on this. Do you think it's been a debate? Are you Team Angel Reese? Are you Team Caitlin Clark? What do you like about each of their games? Let me know. But let's go ahead and get into tonight's game. And this game is a perfect example of what makes Caitlin Clark such a more valuable basketball player than Angel Reese. No disrespect to Angel Reese. She's had a great rookie year, better than expected, does plenty of good stuff, but the concept of them being in the same category as players has never made sense to me. Let's talk about Clark. From a numbers standpoint, here's all you need to know. This season, so far, Caitlin Clark leads the WNBA in assists per game, and she leads the league in unassisted baskets that she creates for herself, whether that be pull-up threes, whether that be getting to the rim, a basket that nobody did anything to help her score. She leads the league in that and in assists. And that level of shot creation is not only unexpected from a rookie, but is the most valuable thing you can bring to your team in the WNBA. Be able to create shots for yourself and for everyone else. She is a one-person offense when she's on the floor, and the concept of that being debated against what is still a great skill for Angel Reese to have and her rebounding ability, I totally get the value that's in that, but those skills are not on the same value level, even though they're both fantastic. And I'm sure some of you are probably going to point out, well, you also have to talk about the turnover numbers for Caitlin Clark. Absolutely. I 100% agree the turnovers need to be lower. There's no reason that she should be getting 6, 7, 8 turnovers a game in some of these games, but you have to understand that when you have the ball as much as she does, there's going to be some turnovers, and there's so much attention on her defensively. Like, it's not to say that the Fever have bad offensive players around her. There's other good players on the team, but there's a reason they had the number 1 pick of the draft. There's a reason that they went from the worst team in the league last year to a borderline playoff team this year, and that's the addition of Caitlin Clark and her shot creation. And if you want to make a statistical case and put the numbers side by side and say, oh, well, look at all these rebounds that Angel Reese is getting, and she's scoring pretty well as well, man, doesn't that have value? Yeah, absolutely, that's fine. You want to make that case, you go right ahead. You're wrong, but you want to go ahead and make that case, that's fine. Not to mention the fact that a good amount of these rebounds numbers come off of her own misses. Like, when you're missing this much at the rim and then you're rebounding your own miss, that's not providing any extra value to your team. Just make the first shot and then the rest of the play doesn't matter. I know that there's a stat going around where she would still lead the league in rebounding, even if you don't account for the rebounds off of her own misses. That's fine, but people are still using the overall rebounding number as a case for her. And as a case for her in general, that's fine, but in comparison to the shot creation of Caitlin Clark, it's just not comparable. And again, I don't want this to sound like too negative of a video about Angel Reese. She still had a great rookie year, I think above expectation considering what most people thought she was going to do when she came into the league. But she's one of the worst at rim finishers in the league in terms of players that get a high volume of shots at the rim. She's one of the worst in the league. Like, that has to be accounted for. Just the same way you have to account for the turnovers for Caitlin Clark, you have to account for the low shooting percentage for her as well. And this game was just a perfect illustration of the comparison between the two players as well, because everything that was happening on the floor, there was a lot of other good stuff happening for the Fever, but their best possessions, the best stuff they did offensively was all around what Caitlin Clark was doing. They brought two to the ball. She found the right person. She was able to create off the dribble. Her three-point shooting was actually good in this game, despite the fact that on the year, from a percentage standpoint, it's actually been way down. She's still shooting a ton. The volume is still there, but percentage-wise, even off the dribble, all the stuff that she was really good at in college hasn't 100% translated because of the extra attention on her defensively in the WNBA. But if you just watched this game and you had no idea who any of the players on the floor were, you would immediately point out, hey, Caitlin Clark, she looks like she's a really good player. And quite frankly, you wouldn't really have noticed Angel Reese that much. This wasn't her best game. She had some foul issues in the second half. And I think in the long term, like, Angel Reese is still going to be a really good player. She's going to be able to rebound the ball. And again, there's value in that. There's tremendous value, especially in offensive rebounding, not on her own misses, but just in general. Offensive rebounding creates fantastic shot opportunities, whether it be for kickouts for threes, whether it be you're already right at the rim when you're getting the offensive rebound. There's tremendous value in that, but you have to account for the inflated statistics of getting rebounds off her own misses when she's missing a lot at the rim. And even though I think this is genuinely one of the stupidest basketball debates that we've had in a while, I think this rivalry, or whatever you want to call it, is fantastic for the league. Any kind of extra attention, any kind of extra, hey, I really want to tune into this game tonight, is unbelievably helpful for the league. And it's clear that these are going to be the two pillars of the league, or at least two of the pillars of the league moving forward in terms of people tuning in to watch them match up. Hopefully each of the teams get better and we get to see some postseason matchups against each other. And as these teams get better over the next couple of years, I think we're just going to see the individual numbers for these two players increase. Reese is going to get better opportunities at the rim and get better at finishing at the rim. That field goal percentage is going to go up, and she's still going to have that tenacity on the offensive glass. And for Clark, there's a lot of assists that get left on the table for her because either her teammates don't handle the pass well, or there's just open opportunities that they're not making. Not a perfect player by any means. Like I said, the turnover stuff needs to go down, but I think as the team improves, as they get, better shooting and maybe a little bit less of the defensive attention is on Caitlin Clark, I think we're just only going to see improved not only numbers, but efficiency, and the teams are just going to get much better from a record standpoint as well. Obviously, it's a top-heavy league at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised to see either of these teams kind of near that top of the league over the next couple of seasons. But I think it's certainly clear at this point that we can just go ahead and put to rest whatever the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year debate award race was ever going to be. It's okay. Two things can be true at once. It can be true that both of these players are having outstanding rookie seasons and that Angel Reese is putting up great rebounding numbers and that matters. And it can also be true that there's a significant gap between the value that they're providing to their teams and where they should rank within the Rookie of the Year award race. Because I've heard every debate, I've heard every argument, I've heard every conversation you can possibly think about, following all of this stuff on Twitter, following all this stuff on YouTube, everywhere, of what the argument would be for one player over the other. And again, I truly don't think it is a debate. I don't think it's been a debate since like the 8th or 9th game of the season. Since the Fever really figured it out, started winning games, this has just not been a debate to me at all. Awesome for the league, super interesting to talk about, but certainly not a debate in my eyes.